Okay, here we go. It's a Reuters story. Welcome back. Rush Limbaugh, Open Line Friday. U.S. regulators directed 5 of the country's biggest banks, including Bank of America Corporation and Goldman Sachs, to develop plans for staving off collapse if they face serious problems, emphasizing the banks could not count on government help. 2-year-old program, been largely secret until now, is in addition to the living wills the banks crafted to help regulators dismantle them if they actually do fail. It shows how hard regulators are working to ensure that banks have plans for worst-case scenarios and can act rationally in times of distress. Well, let me boil this down to it for you. U.S. regulators are telling banks to make plans for preventing a collapse. Why would they be doing that now? That's right, Mr. Limbaugh, because don't you see, banks should be planning for this and each and every day. It's always possible, Mr. Limbaugh, that banks could collapse. Yeah, but they're warning them to be ready now. Make plans now to prevent a collapse. They told the banks to consider drastic efforts to prevent failure in times of distress, including selling off businesses, finding other funding sources if regular borrowing markets shut them out. Got to find ways to reduce risk. The plans must be feasible to execute within 3 to 6 months. Banks were to, quote, make no assumption of extraordinary support from the public sector, meaning we ain't bailing you out. Public sector is the government, and we ain't bailing you out. You better be making plans to prevent collapse. And if it happens, you better be able to handle it on your own, or else you're all going to end up like Lehman Brothers. And then we're going to have a movie made about each of you. And then the country is never, ever going to elect a Republican again. Because every bank is going to be portrayed as having been run by a Romney-type guy. Why would they be warning them? You better get your disaster plans in order. And by the way, you can't count on the government. Now, the government, what are they supposed to do? Protect the economy? So another collapse, these guys can't count on the government. I know that they want us to believe, well, that's good, Rush. The government's not going to bail out the banks. The banks should. I understand all that. And I agree with this. Is another threat, though. This is and I think, I'm just throwing this out there. It's probably very unlikely. But I saw a story the other day that all of these banks that donated money to Obama are not this year. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, all these idiots that threw in practically every dollar they donated in 2008 went to Obama. It's now not going to Obama. Well, this is the kind of thing that might result from it. Oh, okay. You don't see fit to contribute to me? Fine. You better get ready for the next disaster. Remember, I can cause them. And if it happens, you're not getting bailed out. In other words, if there's another collapse, you put it together what he just said in Pueblo, Colorado. If there's another collapse, I'm running your bank. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna take your bank just like I took General Motors. That's who the guy is. That's what he's saying. Don't doubt me. That's why, again, folks, none of this would be a big, big threat if people just had the ability, the wherewithal to look at Obama ideologically and understand what that means. Of course, it's more complicated than that. You and I understand liberalism as it's simple to us. It's the persuading others I know it's a tough thing to do. Let's grab the call. I promised we'd take phones in this hour, and we're going to start. Look, we got a call from the Philippines. Mindanao in the Philippines. This is Jeannie. Welcome to the EIB Network. Hello.
Hi, thank you for letting me talk to you.
You bet.
My question is, why do you think that the left doesn't call as much to defend Obama? I mean, they hardly call at all. I can't remember a call in a long time.
Well, first let me ask Snerdley a question. Are they... He says they're not calling. Because normally we put callers from the left at the front of the line. And that stems back to the first days of this program when we were accused of never putting people on who disagree with me. And so whenever we had a caller disagreed, we always put that caller at the front of the line. And that's a policy that is a holdover. It still happens. Until you brought it up, I hadn't even thought about it. My guess is they probably think it's hopeless.
Right.
Well, they know they can't trick me. Even if they trick Snerdley, they know they're not going to get by me.
Yeah.
And they know that they're not going to last more than 30 seconds if they start getting belligerent. It's going to take them longer than that to make their point. But why they don't call to either argue with me or defend Obama, I don't know. They probably don't think it's necessary.
That's true. That's true.
Why? It's interesting. You're thinking about that as you're sitting out there listening in the Philippines. You have a theory on it?
I kind of like what you think, that there's nothing to defend. They can't defend him. What would they say?
All they can do, well, they never do. Even when they were calling with greater frequency, they would never really defend Bill Clinton or John Kerry. All they would do would rip me.
Right.
That's really all the callers to the left ever did was rip me for the way I do the program, or the unfairness that I engage in, or some other criticism of the way I do the program. Never really did they defend their Democrat idols.
Right. They're indefensible.
Well, I don't. As I read leftist blogs, I don't think that. Obama has a lot of supporters that believe all this. Without getting into their IQs and, relative intelligence, common sense, he's got people that believe it. They're on television every day. There's not a shortage of people who could call here and argue in favor of Obama's agenda. They just don't. I've just always chalked it up to the fact that they know they're going to lose. So why bother? I mean, who wants to call a radio show and end up being humiliated and made to look like an idiot? I wouldn't want to do it.
Magic will continue.